Okay, hello, everyone, and welcome to an unscripted developer commentary on, I am. Now you might be thinking, why am I doing I am, and not, the Return to Freddy's? Well, I feel like this game should deserve a little bit of recognition because of, even though I think developed it in only under a month. I feel like people should at least give it a little bit more attention than just my TRTF projects, because I mean, don't people hate TRTF? So why are people paying attention to the TRTF projects? It's very, it's very whatever. But I mean, I can't really control what people's preferences are a lot of the time. But yeah, this was it. Small overview before I, click new game and all of that. This was obviously developed only by me and just me. I think the only person who ever also worked on this was just Senor, who did the ending animation, but then everything else was made by me, and you could definitely see it. This is why I didn't really put the 2000 Studios label on it. I just put my name, Elijah McHenry, over it because why not? So yeah, I think this is also a little bit of a test because I was starting to get into using texture sites more often. Oh god, that phone is ringing. I don't want that to happen, so we'll go now. The whole overview of this, how I created this, was literally because one day I was watching Markiplier play Silent Hills PT, and overnight I was just like, I feel like that would be cool for a FNAF fan game. So that's what I did, was that I made a I made a basically what you could call like a PT styled FNAF fan game. And it is basically just either a test or a tech demo or whatever. I don't really consider it really that much of a full game because of how very simple it is and how there's really no replay value to it. But if I ever wanted to make like a sequel or like an actual like remake of this one, I would actually put like development time into it, because yeah, it would be way more because this is basically the whole thing, is bringing a psychological horror element to FNAF, because I feel like it's a little bit overshadowed. But yeah, other than the overview, this is what it looks like. Yeah. You may already notice the aspect ratio and the fact that the screen is distorting at the corners. Those were both just to give, because this is meant to be a tribute, so it's meant to have like this sort of like FNAF 2, FNAF 1, and FNAF 3 vibe, where it's got the very boxy aspect ratio and the noticeable click team perspective object to it. Yeah. All of the models are made by me, by the way. So, it's like, especially this endoskeleton, this was made by me. But I did use a lot of references, and I wanted to go for, like, the original reference image of, like, the endoskeleton. But other than that, another thing I think was that this game was supposed to also have, and I should start moving and getting to the objectives, because I'll die in about 10 minutes if I don't do any objectives. But you may also, and I kind of skipped that scare over there, so I'll go here near the mirror and do the scare there. But yeah, it was supposed to be you're gonna be haunted more by the puppet when you go down to each of the layers, where they would become more and more distorted. So basically, I think one of the ideas for it was that there was going to be some mirrors around the area, like around the house, I believe, and it was going to be much more bigger of a house than this sort of simple, like, weird ghetto apartment thing. But yeah, it was basically just meant to be like a house, and it would have like a bunch of like these mirrors and stuff. I believe I was gonna do like the FNAF 4 house as like a base reference for it, but I didn't do it. But one of the things that I wanted to do with these mirrors and the puppet was that you would had a flashlight, or have had a flashlight, and what basically you would do is that you would have to shine your light near those mirrors and sort of like do like a weird sort of reflection bounce thing. How I would accomplish that, especially without RTX rendering, I don't even know. So yeah. Oh yeah, also, the main gameplay loop here is, this right here, tally marks slowly appear. That's why it's also glowing, is to catch your attention. I basically did go with the design that Hideo did use for PT, which was basically not really telling the player. But obviously what I'm doing right now is that I'm telling the player. You can interact with stuff in the environment, as you saw back there, where I interacted with things. And you can do this weird zooming thing, like, ooh, who am I behind this mirror? But this is my favorite interactivity. Yeah, it's just very nice. But yeah, there's these objects right here that appear, and when you click on them, you go into this pseudo Atari styled game. Now, I believe I was gonna have them in first person rather than in this sort of crude third person sort of perspective, where you can actually see the walls. Like, yeah, right there when I entered it, you can see the walls have like, and there's a lot of heavy distortion going on here. And this is very heavily much Atari based, especially since if you notice the color palette here, it's only using 3. But I believe I am using the Atari color palette, but I don't think I was going to actually make them single colored sprites, because I did look up Atari limitations, and there's a lot of heavy limitations. So yeah, that's why I went for it. And oh yeah, and this was supposed to set up basically this potential sequel. I believe you're supposed to be the security guard, and I think it was like called like Witness or something like that. But then I found out that there's a really amazing animation revolving around the draw kills also called Witness. And I didn't want to overshadow them, or, you know, be labeled as basically like a copy. Yeah, you get to see this FNAF 3 wall texture and all these little fun purple and red tiles. And who is that? Yeah, if you haven't played the game, spoiler alert, but basically you're playing as William. Because William does have I and am in the title, and I thought that would be cool if it was like a murder mystery. Oh yeah, you can interact with this radio that shows my terrible voice acting skills, but I'm not gonna do it here. Basically, I just talk about how it's basically like a news report about the Fredbear's investigation, where kids were lured into a room by a man in a bunny costume. They did find him with video surveillance, just like in the original FNAF, but he went to a warehouse and then he hanged himself with the loose wiring in that steel factory or whatever. I think I said warehouse, but I said steel factory. And I was gonna do a little thing where it's basically like he was high on heroin at the time or something like that, where it's like people suspect drugs to be the main culprit, but that isn't the case, maybe. I don't know, I was trying to bring some fun to it, I guess, even though murdering kids and doing drugs is obviously wrong. So Uh, it was actually a little bit hard to program this game too, especially with the looping corridor, because I didn't want it to just be like multiple levels, because all of this is done in one level, even including the mini game sections. And maybe I'll insert some footage here of me inside the Unreal editor. Oh yeah, by the way, this was made in Unreal Engine 4.24.2, by the way, just so if people were wondering what engine I was using. But yeah, as you can see right there, it's like it's right outside. I want to have these little frames right here too. There's also a lot of decal work and a lot of use of very reflective textures and all that. I don't know why there's a lot of visible scan lining. Ignore that, please. Yeah. And a lot of the sounds are from either royalty-free sites, downloaded from like YouTubeFreeAudio.com or something like that, or just from the FNAF games in general. And this was one of the sounds that I really was like, I want to put this into the game, just like, you know, the Night 5 phone call. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, there's also these interacting with elements in the environment. I thought it would be fun to just I think it was also used to mislead the player sometimes. Oh yeah, I still need to so hold on. There's no sprint key, and you walk considerably slow, and you still have those wood footstep sounds even when you're on carpet, because that's how reality works. Well, I mean, this is like a metaphysical reality, or like a dreamscape, but boo. And you might be wondering if the pizzeria, or like the minigame sections, is like right over here, then how is there an outside? Well, that's because I used cube map trickery. That's right, you've been fooled this whole time. Did I skip Chica? No, I didn't. What the fuck? Oh, I'm on layer 5. Sorry, I'm way too focused on talking to you guys about how I developed the game than he is. I guess I could talk about the textures. Not these ones. Actually, wait, before I talk about the textures, I can talk about this. You can't go down here and be killed by Springtrap or whatever, but I added a little bit of a fun Easter egg where you can actually be killed by Fredbear here. And to help balance out the sort of timer, the 10-minute timer, an extra minute is added when you exit those mini games, and the timer doesn't go down when you're in the mini games. So basically, I think the Fredbear one does actually give you an extra 2 minutes rather than an extra minute. So yeah, if you guys want to speedrun this game. But yeah, the textures. The textures, I used a source, like a textures source website called textures.com. But this was before I actually edited, like, you know, I actually like went into like paint.net and actually edited a lot of the textures, because these are literally just the defaults of all of the textures I downloaded. So, and why I used a planked texture for the doors and cabinets, not even I know why I did that. So you have to figure out that on yourself. And also, the game does have a depth of field. Let's go into the post-processing. It's very heavy. I didn't want to utilize Unreal's sort of auto exposure sort of thing, because I don't really like it. a lot of the games I never really used it. So I keep it disabled, and I try and use, I think I did a little bit of a conservative amount of bloom, and I added in depth of field, because I think that would be cool. Like, you're like, what's in the distance here? It's a cupcake. Which is, pretty nice. Yeah. And also, maybe I could talk about some of the modeling choices too. Like that key, for example. There's a long spiked point on it, and it's like a rusted copper, so it's supposed to be like, you know, uses like a copper blade to stab the kids with, you know. Actually, maybe I can go to this door, because I think if you listen very closely with the door, and I'll probably boost up the game volume. It's probably not happening right now, but, the Foxy banging on his door, and like the tapping on the glass sound from like a FNAF 1 is being subtly heard while you're like sort of trying to listen to it. But yeah, before I get Foxy's hook. Ah, fuck. I should have maybe waited. But yeah, a lot of the models are pretty nice. I think this was the first model I ever made, was this radio. But it's very terribly modeled, so that's why it's covered in shadow. The rest of them use references and all that. This one, I believe, is literally just a texture, but then I popped out a lot of the things, and I didn't cut into the ridges of those wrenches. It's very stupid of me. There's also this right here, which is supposed to be Edwin, the endoskeleton. There, that's his official name. Copyright. Never. Oh yeah, also, a lot of the, these, children, they have actually different speeds. Because, with, actually, I should talk about this as well, but, before I do, both the Bonnie and Chica child, both are at 500 units speed. Fredbear's at, I believe, 600 units. Foxy is the fastest with 750 units. And I believe Freddy only has 250 units, so he's the slowest. It's supposed to sort of mimic how their sort of game speed is sometimes. I don't know, maybe I should have added in the thing. Oh yeah, also, I don't know, maybe I should finish the joke. Maybe I should add in, like, a randomizer for, Fredbear's speed. That would make him more accurate. But, also this door. I was thinking about adding in both a good and a bad ending, where you actually, if you lead the kids through the door, then you would get, like, a good ending. But if you led the kids to the back here, then you would receive, like, a bad ending. And I believe, depending on what child you exit last, is who you revealed to be at the end. Like, you would be Fredbear, the Fredbear kid, or the Foxy kid. But yeah, I just went for the more simple, you have to kill the children. And the ending is supposed to be a little bit metaphorical, because it's supposed to show a sort of loop. Like, he's dreaming about how he's in purgatory, endless purgatory, and then he leaves by freeing the souls. But he ends up waking back up on the day he decided to murder the kids. And I think there's like a heroin needle and like some blood over there. I'll like freeze frame it so you can see it a little bit better. The cityscape was a little bit hard to model, but again, I used a lot of heavy decals and some particle effects. There were going to be some clouds too. And also, again, this was animated by Senor, which, yeah, thank you. Sorry, I had to take drinks because how... Yeah, there's the Fredbear's Family Diner thing. and that pulls up and shows the title of the game, which originally was supposed to have the other parts of it, the WLL, sort of fade in, but then I just went for this instead. Yeah. But other than that, it was a very simple game made only in a couple of hours, like only a couple of weeks. I don't know if there's any game-breaking bugs yet. Probably the last thing I'll talk about here is not only did I give credit to everything that I used, but there's a little bit of a secret Easter egg here as well, because the Fredbear, there's actually the Night Guard sprite is right behind the Fredbear, which I think was supposed to set up like the sort of the game I mentioned earlier, like the sequel to this. So but yeah, this was I've been Elijah McKendry. Thank you for taking time to listen to me like rant a little bit. I think I might not really edit a lot of this video. I might gather up some of the footage I may have already mentioned, but other than that, yeah, thank you. And if you guys want to see me do more like sort of maybe behind the scenes or something like that, you guys can debate what I want, what you want me to talk about next, with like, maybe I'll edit it or something like that. I don't really know. I'll probably like actually write up a script and stuff, but this one just came to my mind because I just wanted to get some stuff off of my my chest really about this game, about how I was really proud of it. And I don't really know how proud people are about it either. I don't know if there's any diehard I Am fans. But yeah. Y'all take care and have a good day.